This is Jimmie Jordan, and you are watching Peeps and Views.
Welcome everybody to Peeps and Views. This is Peeps in the Play. I'm talking to
Jimmie Jordan.
Jimmie Jordan, how you doing?
I am doing very well.
Glad you volunteered your services to answer some of my questions.
Anything for a brother. Anything for a brother.
Man, I appreciate it, sir. So one question I have for you is the Black Lives Matter movement. How did it affect you, if it affected you at all?
Well, the only thing that affected me was in one area. It was good to see black people come together for a black cause. It is hard to get black people to come together to do anything for black people. And so that is one thing that I am very, very proud of to say. Of course, there's some good to it. There's some things that we don't really agree with. Some of the actions that's taken and people trying to take it to the next level and being disrespectful and all that. But overall, I think it's good anytime black people can come together for a black cause. It's great.
Now the next question I have was, there's so much gun violence going on in Seattle. And I know you're from Chicago, so that's something that you're used to. But how do you maneuver and try to mentor these kids to make the right decision or make the best decision that they can make?
Well, regarding gun violence, I don't think any child, if you're under 18, should have a gun. So how are they getting guns? That's the first question to ask. And so it has to come from a parent, or the parent is leaving it around the house, or they're not leaving it in the safe. And so it just makes our streets not as safe as it ought to be due to the carelessness of the people who are allowing these kids to get guns.
So, brother, my last question. My last question would be, since you've been married and you've been married for a while, you know, kind of enlighten us, brothers, on what's the most difficult thing that you had to overcome in marriage and being in a relationship. Like, what's the hardest thing to really, in marriage, what's the hardest thing since you're married?
Well, when it comes to marriage, the most difficult thing for marriage is for people to conduct themselves in marriage according to the way God intended for marriage to happen. And you would have to go to the Bible, Ephesians 5, 1 Corinthians 7, look up those particular scriptures to see what God really says about marriage. And if you can conform yourself to those scriptures, your marriage should do fine. But unfortunately, a lot of us have wills, W-I-L-L. We have a will, and our desire sometimes is not to do the right thing. Our desire sometimes is to be selfish. And so all of those things, if you don't learn how to compromise, all of those things play a part, and they have a negative and adverse effect on your marriage. But the good news is, the only reason why people, in my opinion, get a divorce is not necessarily for lack of trust or because people have made mistakes. The reason why people end up with getting a divorce is because of the hardness of the heart. When you lack the ability to forgive, everybody's gonna make mistakes. But when you make that decision, I cannot forgive you, then that's, in the majority of the time, when divorce happens.
So if you had anything to say or anything you wanted to say to the people, let me know.
Okay, first thing I wanted to say is support the camera guy, because that's my brother and we've been brothers for a while, and I love the camera guy. He's just a really, really, really good brother. So you all remember that. If you can slide him $5 or $10, $15 here, especially if he's doing your work for you and he's taking pictures of you and he's posting it for you and you're benefiting, it's no harm to say thank you. Small token here or there, it will help the brother in the cause because he's doing the good work. That's the very first thing I want to say. Second thing I want to say is black people, I believe until we are able to come together and have an economic movement, we will always be subject to the tyranny and to the effects of whatever any other race wants to put upon us. And until we're able to come together, use our money with good qualified people, take care of the money really well, but come together for a cause so we can start building our own communities, building our own businesses, not just using money to pad people's pockets, but to have an economic movement where we own the community, we own the stores, we buy from ourselves. We have our own apartment complexes. We own banks. We do all of those things until I believe we are able to come together and increase the economic wealth that black people own. I think we'll always be subject to the tyranny and whatever other adverse behavior and effects and decisions that other people they place upon us. And so we really want to be liberated. We really want to have a voice. Then make sure all these organizations, whether it's NAACP, whether it's Minister Louis Farrakhan, what are we doing to, or even the black churches, what are we doing to actually increase the economic wealth of our people? What do we own? What do we own? What voice do we have? And if we don't own anything, we don't have any voice. And I would press upon us to try to find a way to put systems in place so that it's not really about the lack of trust that we have with each other, but put systems in place. We have people who graduate from great degrees, great colleges, getting excellent degrees, good brothers, good sisters, and somehow we cannot come together to build economic wealth for our own community and leave a legacy for our kids. If that somehow can happen, I believe then we will have a voice. We can march all we want to, we can protest all we want to, but at the end of the day, where are we putting our black dollars? Where are we spending our money? Where is it going? But not into our community. What do we own that we can say that's really ours and we have a voice in the say-so of? So with that being said, I love you, peace, love, happiness.